Hi friends, this is Janine Pettit, founder of Girl Camper, and I am down here in Greensboro, North Carolina at the Camco factory to talk about my new Eaz-Lift R3 weight distribution hitch. I had it professionally installed by the top man in the game, Mike, and he's here to talk about why this new and improved weight distribution hitch is something you might want to consider. So Mike, tell us what went into the new redesign of the R3.
Okay, what we did, we made it easier to be able to snap the bars in through the top instead of the bottom.
The old one had to be shoved underneath, and I really struggled with that a lot. So now your new design drops in from the top.
That's right, and you get a better ground clearance also.
It's another perk of it now. So I have a off-road trailer which sits high, but my old trailer was quite low, and the ground clearance with the weight distribution bars coming from the bottom took away at space that we needed. So now we've got added ground clearance. So let's walk over and take a look at these new features. Okay, Mike here professionally installed my R3, and I want to talk about DIY projects for the RV that you take on yourself and some things that I would simply never take on myself. I just watched Mike, who had a hand in developing this product, spend about 20 to 25 minutes installing this. And how many would you say you've installed?
Probably over 100.
Yeah, so this guy knows what he's doing. This is something that I would recommend, Girl Camper, that you take to a professional installer and have it done. This is not the kind of thing I want to mess with myself. There was a lot of measurements involved in getting this thing. It has to be custom fitted to your tow vehicle. So I'm here and Mike did that for me. And now we're going to talk about, once it is installed, how we get started. So Mike, what's our first thing?
Okay, so we back up to our camper. We're going to lower the camper on the ball.
Kerplunk, we got it.
We're going to lock it in. And then what we're going to do, we want to snap our bars in.
So I'm going to install this top down here, and you just keep it straight across, and we're going to wait and hear that click. So satisfying. Then we're going to spin it this way, and I'm going to use the tool. There's two holes here. One is for the pin, and it's in the rear, and the other is for the tool, and it's in the front. So we're going to use the front pin. That's that. And then we're going to use our cotter pin with, it's a built-in, do you call this a cotter pin?
We call it a detent pin.
I like that it has a built-in pin in it, so you push this button in the back, and then this goes in the behind, front, back to front, and I release the button, and so now it has the built-in, but I love that it has this little safety wire on it, so you're never gonna lose that thing. So when we take it out, when we get where we're going, it's just dangling, but it's not hitting the ground. And we could put it back in our spot when we remove this so we don't lose it. So push that button in, it goes in the rear, straight through, and it's not coming out. Mike's gonna do the other side.
Now we're gonna lower the camper down.
And so Mike took all these measurements ahead of time, and this is why it's so important to have it professionally installed, to make sure the height of my truck and the level height of my trailer are matched here. And so that's gonna make the weight distribution aspect of this work better. And so Mike, what is actually happening with this tool? Why do people need this? Is it going to help with sway?
This has built-in sway control in it. So yes, it will. And the sway is built in the head instead of the back where the weight distribution is. So the cool thing about our hitch also is ours is the only one you can really turn the sway off and still have weight distribution.
How would you turn the sway off?
So what you have here, you have a nice little Allen wrench. So you would back off this, and that's your sway control, okay?
Okay.
So we're getting ready to leave, so what we want to do is hand tighten this, and we'll have sway control on.
What if you have one of those new fancy trucks that has the built-in anti-sway or sway control built into your truck? Do you have two opposing forces then?
Yeah, so what you want to do is turn yours off on the dash.
Okay,
so they won't fight
if you have a
against
new
each other.
truck with the built-in technology, you want to turn that off, and you're just going to go old school with the Allen wrench and turn this one on.
That's right.
You don't want both of them going.
That's right.
Is this the only weight distribution hitch that's drop-in?
No, we have a R6 also.
So we're talking about the R3. How is the R6 different?
It's adaptive. So say if you pulled into a gas station at a low speed turn, it would automatically disengage sway control. And then you pull back on the highway and the sway goes back on.
Okay, so do I have to worry about the R3 when I pull in a gas station?
You don't. It's just, it's always gonna be on.
Okay, what about when I get to the campground and I'm backing up into my site?
You can back up with both of them on.
So I don't have to come out and undo anything here. I can back into my site with this on.
Correct. The only time you really need to turn sway off if it's snowing and icing out.
Yes.
Or you get to your campsite, you don't get back to that same angle when you back up.
Okay.
You could turn this head by hand and drop your bars back in.
Okay. What else should we know about this?
Very quiet, easy installation.
And let's just talk about the ground clearance for a minute. Imagine if this bar was coming out down here, we would, look what we've picked up, whatever this distance is right here, we've got to have picked up, you know, 4 or 5 inches, which means a lot if you're boondocking, if you're pulling in, if you're camping on BLM lands, if you're off-road in any way, that ground clearance makes a huge difference. Okay, there's one more thing I want to talk about. The R3 is a weight distribution hitch and an anti-sway hitch all in one. These are usually 2 separate components, but this is a 2-for-1. So once we have our weight distribution bars in place, the last thing we want to do before we take off is tighten our anti-sway. And that comes with a little Allen wrench here, and we just push this in here, it's hand tightened, and we turn this until we meet resistance. And we don't want to over tighten, but you feel it. It is by feel. So now this is going to keep the trailer from swaying when we're going down the road. And Mike, when we get to the campground, we have to back that off before we disconnect. Is that right?
I recommend it because you're never going to come back in that same angle, and you can put your, swing your head around anywhere to hook back up.
Okay. So that's the last thing. Now we've got weight distribution, we've got anti-sway, and we're safe on the road. So Mike, thank you so much for walking us through this. I can't wait to get out on the road next year and not have to stop and ask strangers to help me fix it. Thank you. This is Girl Camper for Camco and Eaz-Lift.